Hello mate, and welcome to another exciting video on pixel art. And what I'm going to do today is create a sofa, a two-seater couch to go alongside my chair that I made yesterday. And this is more of a challenge because it hasn't got just two planes or two flat surfaces like the back and the seat and then the legs. This has got multiple levels, and we need to add a lot of minor detail in just to make it look like we want it to look, whilst also maintaining the proportions that we want, so that we're not making the sofa look ridiculously large or small compared to our other pieces of furniture that we created and our 16 or 32 pixel high character. So first thing we want to do is just grab a colour. Any old colour will do really, and then now there's ways you can measure this out. The back of a sofa is usually kind of waist height on most people, also known as 1 meter high. So what we could do is just map out, using the correct tool of course, map out the back of the sofa like we did with our chair yesterday, and just grab maybe there, and then using our select tool we can drag it up until we're happy with the position of the back of the chair, and then we can add the remainder of it in a slightly different color. Let's just grab a completely different color for now. We'll go with this whatever color you'd want to call it, and then we can actually suggest where the seat is going to start. So I'm going to go with kind of in that area. So what I'm going to do is grab my rectangle tool again, and then I'm just going to grab that there, and I want the seat of the sofa to be pretty much the same size as the back. So I've obviously gone a little bit too far here, so I'm going to pull that back with let's just see, 1 2 3 4. Is that going to be enough to give me, I'm going to go with a 6 deep sort of situation going on there, like that. Okay. And we can adjust this afterwards if we want to. Now, obviously, we are in a situation where we've just got what is essentially a bench at the moment, so we need to make this look a bit like a sofa. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my flat plane color, and I'm actually going to change it now. Let's get it right now. So we're going to, for the bit that's pointing towards the sky, we need to go a little bit brighter. So we'll come up on our brightness, down on our saturation, and we're going to move it towards yellow a little bit. And then we can get our colours right there. That looks good. Now, sofas are quite thick, so we're generally going to want to add at least I'm going to go with a 2 pixel deep situation there, and I'm also going to just chop a little bit more out of there. That looks a bit better. And now we're getting closer to looking like we've got a 3-dimensional object. What we also need to do is, I'm going to say 3 pixel high, add that on that side, and the same thing on this side, 3 pixels by 3 pixels. And then obviously, because we're doing that, we need to chop in 3 pixel by 3 pixel bit out of there, like that. That's looking good. So what I want to do now is look at it and see if I think that the dimensions are okay. And I like the back's dimensions, and I think the seat dimensions and the front dimensions could do with a little bit of a tweak. So I'm actually going to grab this bit here, move it down 1 pixel. I think that looks a little bit better. But what I need to do is copy that color again and grab my rectangle tool or my pixel brush tool, and either will work fine. I feel like that looks a little bit better. And I might actually just shave the bottom layer off there like that. It's starting to look a little bit more like a sofa now. Okay, so now we need to start getting involved with our shading. So what I might do is start with the highlights on various bits and pieces. So what I'm going to do is grab this color. I'm already working with quite bright colors, so what I could do is actually darken this up a little bit. So if I just come down on my color there and my saturation, and I grab my fill brush and just bring that down, and then with this color I can go up a little bit more and then a bit more towards green. And bring my, that's probably a little bit too dark. That's a bit better. Still not quite enough though. I think I need to pull in a bit more towards green and bring up my brightness a bit more. There we go. Now we've got the contrast that we're after. And if we look at our small thumbnail on the left hand side, we can already see that that's starting to take shape quite nicely now. So again, what I want to do is work on the highlights. So I'm actually going to grab my color brush here, and there's actually another cheating way that we can do this. So what I want to do, bring my value all the way up to 100, my saturation all the way down, and then bring my alpha down to about 20, and then making sure I've got my pencil brush selected, I can just drag across there once and then go again, drag across there once and then go again, and that's given me a highlight already. And now I can do the same thing along the top here, go with that bit there and then drag across it again. And now because we've got two cushions, we could separate them with separate highlights like that. And then I'm actually going to just round off these corners, or give the illusion of them being a little bit rounder by adding a little bit more highlight in the corner there, like that. What I also need to do now is add a highlight to the front of this cushion. So I'm actually, because it's quite a light color, I'm actually going to increase the alpha of my white smidge more. I'm just going to drag all the way across first with one. Then I'm going to just, again, because I'm using two couch cushions, I'm actually going to add separate highlights for each one. And now because we're going to go into the darker bit again, I'm going to bring my alpha back down. And I'm just going to add a couple of small highlights for the bottoms of the cushions there as well. And now we can see we've got some shape starting to happen here. And I'm also going to, on the slight left hand side of the couch, on that cushion there, I'm actually going to add a highlight there like that as well. Now we're going to go into shadow, so what I have to do is bring my value down to 0, and now I can add my cushion shape in. And I think I might have overcooked it on that one a little bit. I think the value is just a little bit too high still. Because we're working on a dark color, we've gone quite a lot darker. There we go. Bringing the opacity of that down slightly, like so, and then add the separation there, and then just darken that shadow up a little bit. That's cool. Now what I want to do is bring that down there. It's going to be a little bit darker at the back because it's more sheltered from the light. So now you can see that we're really starting to get the shape that we want, and we mustn't forget that we're also splitting the couch in half down the middle there, like so. And if you wanted to, you could get a little bit creative here, and you could have like a little bit of a imperfection, something like that in there, and then just get rid of that notch in there like that. Or perhaps that's a bit too much. Let's just grab that one like so. So that's cool. So now we've got kind of, just adds a little bit more of a kind of a finish to that value there. And now we need to come back with our white brush and add the highlights on the top. So saturation all the way down. Again, value is going to be somewhere quite low, and on the top here, because we're using a highlight, a higher color, brighter color there, we need to add a little bit more value to that bit. Okay, and I'm also going to just kind of like draw a little bit of a down the middle there, just to add a little bit of detail across those cushions. Okay, we're almost done. What we want to do now is add some shading, more shading around these bits and pieces. So we're going to come right back onto kind of like a value of 10 there perhaps. I'm just going to draw a little bit of a shadow across there, like so. I'm also going to draw a shadow along the back of these cushions. And again, I'm going to kind of follow the same pattern as I have done before. Just see if that looks okay. I think that second coating might need to be a little bit lighter. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so the one last thing that I want to do is add a shadow to indicate that these arms are actually separate. I know that you can probably see it from the icon, but I feel like we need to go a little bit further. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to draw one line that goes all the way up there, then another line that comes down one less, and then I'm going to just finish it off with a line that comes from there to there, I think. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this one again and this one again, and then over this one last time like that. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side, so we'll come all the way down and then one less, and then one like that. Over this one again, over this one again, and then over it one last time. That's cool. So now we can see the sofa is really starting to come together. So I'm actually going to just add a little bit of a kind of a cross pattern here. Make the middle one a bit darker, just to give the illusion of some kind of upholsterer's, I don't know what they call that thing in couches where they have those like bullets in the back, but that's what I'm adding, just a hint of those. There we go. So now what I want to do to finish this off, because I'm pretty happy with the overall look that I've got of it, is I want to make these corners rounded off, because it looks too square to be a couch at the moment. It doesn't look like a soft piece of furniture, and just by getting rid of those two corner pieces, I feel like that makes it look a lot better. And then the last thing is to add a shadow to the bottom. So I'm going to grab a alpha piece of about, I don't know, let's say 30 with my pen, with my brush tool. And I'm just going to add a little bit of a contact shadow on the outsides, of course. And then I'm going to run one shadow along the bottom there. But because it's off the ground slightly, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to add a second layer of shadow there, like that. I'm going to run this past one more time, again, to give us the illusion that it's underneath the object and not in front of it. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm actually going to add a couple of extra blobs there that gives the illusion of legs underneath the sofa that we can't quite see. And there we have it, folks. That is a two-seater couch we've created in, I don't know how long. How long has that been? Yeah, about 12 minutes, 12 and a half minutes. For a pretty decent looking piece of furniture. And you could obviously tweak this by adding extra highlights or rounding off more corners or whatever it is you want to do, but for the purposes of this exercise, I think that's a pretty successful couch. So thanks very much for watching. Hope you found it useful. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. But until then, you take damn good care of yourselves, alright? Bye bye.